This is the Troll Patrol. Live. With Justin. FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol. Live. It's a freaking Sunday. And you know what? I just thought about it when I was walking back in here. Motherfucker, I should have made a graphics package for the Oscars. I should have had a little Oscar. I should have had like an Oscar head with the troll hair on it and shit. My bad. Sparkles and I watched our Oscar-nominated movie last night. We watched West Side Story. We got about 15 minutes, 20 minutes into it. I'm like, oh shit, this is just Romeo and Juliet, isn't it? Am I gonna die by the end of this movie? I was almost right. Spoiler alert. If you've never seen West Side Story, you know the play. I had never, amazingly enough, I was in theater for years. I've never seen West Side Story. I was familiar with a couple of the songs. The stories I've seen, I don't go too far deep into the Russia thing. I don't want to. You gotta pay it some mind, but also like we've got more pressing issues going on. Back on D Live tonight, by the way. Apparently now they're messaging us. Back on Facebook tonight. I had to make a few adjustments. Well, it's an old movie and they remake. Like, we watched the remake. That's why it was up for Best Picture. Steven Spielberg did a remake of it. Sparkles had seen the original. I'd never seen it. I thought it was about Italians. Like, no, it's about Puerto Ricans. I'm like, oh, my bad. We went to dinner last night. She said I just busted out singing Mbop. And it was really loud. I didn't think it was that loud. We were just kind of like sitting there and I'm like, Mbop, ndop, ba, doo, bop. And like there were kids yelling. And it was one of our favorite restaurants, and usually they sit us like in the back, away from everybody. We're fine. It's just Sparkles and I in our own world. We got seated at this like communal booth. We were there around a whole bunch of people. I didn't like it. There were screaming kids. Sparkles was having a horrible time. You could tell. Once I got food, I'm like, ooh, yes, this was worth it. The food is pad thai and sushi was worth putting up with these screaming kids. What is up, Ginger? Just bullshitting. I'm talking about Sparkles and I did last night. And then we went to Baskin Robbins. For some reason, they were having like some kind of fucking retirement party at a Baskin Robbins. There was 50 people inside there. I didn't like it one bit. Unfortunately, I was the one paying for it. So I had to be in there. I would just send Sparkles in to get mine. Cause I'm like, I don't want to be around those people. I'm boosted and everything now, but I still don't want to take any chances. Come on. God had meant for women to have orgasms. Would have given them a dick. I saw this on some meme page. I assume that is the words of the man that you're seeing in the picture. Whose profile picture on Facebook is from like the angle he took it, like propping his phone up on his man tits while he's laying down on the couch, and it's like got like a triple chin in there, but you can't see his chin because of the beard. It's a nice beard. I'll give him that. Laughed my ass off when I saw that. Weed! Don't mind if I do. I'm not high enough for this shit. I took a nap a little bit ago, and I don't think I really got high after I got up from my nap, so. And I detest sobriety. Not very fond of sober me. Definitely want to get some intoxicants inside of my body. What are we talking about tonight on the show? I don't even think I went over that, have I? Sorry for the abbreviated freak show on Friday night. We had internet issues. Had internet issues on Thursday night as well. Hopefully, I'm not going to have to get a hold of my ISP. We had about 2 months back in, September, October, where just my ISP was shit and I didn't have any upload speed. Nobody would notice it, except unless you're, like, streaming or uploading video, which is what I do daily. Fucking horrendous upload speeds. Download speed was fine. So I had to have him come out here to my house multiple times. One of my, I cussed out the dude. I'm sorry for cussing out a worker that came to my house, but he was a real dickhead to me. I cussed him out. They tried to charge me because I cussed the motherfucker out and he left. And I called back like, this motherfucker left and didn't fix my internet. It was a whole ordeal. We went through like multiple weeks. Finally, they sent like that dude's boss out here. That dude's boss was super cool. I talked to him and I was, for once, that dude's boss treated me like I knew what I was talking about. Like, you come into my setup and it's kind of obvious, like, I'm not tech illiterate. I know what I'm talking about. So if you ask me to clear my browser cache when I have done all the troubleshooting and proven that it's on your end, not mine. It is nothing going on in here. And you come in here and you ask me to clear my browser cache, I'm probably going to call you a dumb fuck. Just saying. Just saying. Boss came here. He was super cool. Talked to me like I knew what I was talking about. Got it fixed. But it took an awful lot of consternation going back and forth with the, field techs to get to that point. Dude's got a nice beard. I'll give him that. It's a little scraggly. It could use some shaping up. He could use some beard wax. He hasn't kept it in good shape. There's a base there that you can work with. Get you a beard brush. You get you some beard wax or some beard balm. Dude could have a nice looking beard. You could have a nice little curly mustache going on. All right, tonight on the show, hopefully we don't have too much to cover. So we're going to get to the cancel culture bit that I wanted to do the other night. Cancel culture. I can't wait to hear what these fucks have to say about canceling. They're a, my level size streamer, probably on the right, or maybe there's some enlightened centrist that we're going to hear from. Oh. Starting off tonight, we're going to do, apparently, the Daily Wire has a hard-on for me. So, I had a video of mine featured on Matt Walsh's show, about 2 months ago, making fun of his stupid-ass children's book that he wrote. Don't mind if I do, RB, I'll hit it again. But now, the CEO, Jeremy Boring of the Daily Wire, has tweeted me out. I love the internet. 23 Rainbow, thank you. I love the aesthetic too. See, here, this gives me the chance to go over this again. In all honesty, the show shouldn't be called the Troll Patrol. This is not the idea I had for the show when I named it the Troll Patrol. I just really liked the troll head and the graphics and everything. It was supposed to be a show where I live trolled people on Facebook, but then I kept getting banned on Facebook, so I just started reading the news. So now we read the news, and people can call in and they can try to troll me. But I love the rainbow aesthetics. Shout out to Walsh. Walsh, there's a lot, there are people that have an issue with Walsh. I don't watch other people that do things that are like in my lane, but I've had a couple different interactions with Walsh, and he has been super cool to me. I don't know about any of his beliefs or stances on things, but every interaction I've had with him thus far, he's been super cool to me. Yes, I love the rainbow aesthetic. The bar on the bottom changes colors as we go along. I love it. I'm really into it. I'm into the troll head. But see, and that was the reason why Walsh played the clip of Matt Walsh, where Matt Walsh played the clip of me. Now I made fun of their stupid ass razor company that they launched last week. Now the CEO of the Daily Wire has tweeted me out, saying, "I love the internet." Let's look at some of the. Oh, I'm not actually on Twitter right now. I don't know. As I said, I've watched very little of his content. Just because, and it's not because like it's not a slight like, oh, I don't like Walsh, so I'm not gonna watch him. It's that I don't want to let anybody else taint my takes. I'm doing stand up a lot. I don't watch other stand ups because I don't want their shit to seep into my stuff. But I don't watch a lot of other talking heads that are doing the same thing as me. We're gonna talk about climate change tonight because this is wild. The west coast of the United States experiencing record high temps. East coast of the United States is bracing for record low temps. This all coming as a heat wave is sweeping both the Arctic and the Antarctic. A large ice shelf has collapsed. UN climate chief has said this is a grave threat to life on Earth. Talk about the wildfires that are raging in Texas, the heat wave going on in California. We're also going to discuss how apparently the U.S. government feels that COVID is over. But if you were to ask somebody in Europe or in Asia if COVID was over, they would probably have a different take on that. Cases in Europe are skyrocketing. Graph looks like the trajectory of the last Omicron wave. It's okay, so usually it would be pleasant here. I think it's supposed to be 70 something tomorrow, but it's like 50 something right now. I don't like, usually I would have my door open this time of year. The cats would be able to come and go as they please, but no. I had to look this up to understand what it was. The polar vortex. The more the water warms in the Arctic, the more that wave of air like gets wonky and will dip further and further down from the Arctic. The dumbest senator in the Senate, Tommy Tuberville, he decided to do like a jaywalking type scenario. Motherfucker thinks he's a stand-up comedian now. Went out on the street to ask citizens about gas prices. Speaking of gas prices, we're going to talk about how Wall Street rallied back last week and the price of oil is down. Oh, you are in Kentucky. That is where I am from. I am originally from Appalachia, Pikeville, Kentucky. far up in the hills of eastern Kentucky, I could take a piss in West Virginia or Virginia. Much the same time. Once again, my internet bouncing back and forth. Motherfucker, I am going to have to cuss out the ISP again. Oh, you're in Western. I went to WKU. I was a hilltopper. Originally, I did not graduate from WKU. But I went there for a little bit. Still not high enough to talk about the news. Oh yeah, we're going to get to the Senate candidate, Eric Greitens. Accused of abuse by his ex-wife, still going. He is the Trump-endorsed candidate in the Missouri Senate race. A Republican congressman has resigned after being convicted. Fucking love Louisville. Louisville is probably one of my favorite cities in the U.S. Haven't been in a while. Last time I went to Louisville was probably 2018. I went and saw Modest Mouse at the Louisville Palace, I think. I think it was 2018, 2019. Fucking love. I always loved going to Louisville when I was a kid. I wanted to live there for a little bit. When I was a photographer, it looked like I was going to be working like the Louisville loop of the portrait studios that we had, and I was actually contemplating moving to Louisville. I really wanted to. Started looking at apartments and everything, but alas, I didn't. I guess I'm high enough to start off the news tonight. Let's talk about Vladimir Zelensky, who was apparently trying to goad the U.S. into doing more. He's like, what's up with you guys? Are you wusses? Are you scared of Russia? Huh? You scared of Russia?
A visibly irritated Ukrainian president demanded late on Saturday that Western nations give him tanks, planes, and missile defense systems. Volodymyr Zelensky said he wanted only a fraction of military hardware held in stockpiles and questioned whether NATO was scared of Moscow.
Only 1% of...
No, motherfucker, they're not scared of Moscow. They're scared of igniting a conflict that will get completely out of hand and we will devolve into World War III. Jesus Christ. Guy Comet, welcome. Well, we just got started on the news. I've been bullshitting. It's been 20 minutes of bullshit thus far. But this dude, like I don't surely he knows that the U.S. has to have a very careful involvement in this shit, that we're walking a fine line as to not set off a much larger conflict. I know what you are embroiled in right now seems dire, but like bigger picture. Yes, desperation. Though apparently Ukraine has done a good job of fighting off Russia. Russia has said they are only focusing on taking back the eastern part of Ukraine and no longer try to take Kyiv.
All NATO aircraft and 1% of all NATO tanks.
What's up, Tones?
1%. We did not ask for more, and we do not ask for more. And we have already been waiting for...
But you're not in NATO.
So who is running the Euro-Atlantic community? Is it still Moscow because of threats?
Western nations have so far given Ukraine anti-tank and anti-aircraft missiles, as well as small arms and protective equipment. But they have not offered heavy armour or planes. On Sunday, a Ukrainian Interior Ministry advisor said Russia had started destroying fuel and storage centres, meaning the government would have to disperse stocks of both in the near future. Appearing to partially confirm that, the Russian Defence Ministry said its missiles had hit a fuel depot as well as a military repair plant near the western city of Lviv. Footage from the State Emergency Services of Ukraine reported to show firefighters battling a blaze at the depot. Local officials said 4 missiles had hit Lviv, which is just 40 miles from Poland's border. It's a relatively rare strike on Ukraine's west. Much of the fighting since Russia's February 24th invasion, which it calls a special military operation, has been focused on the south and east.
Yeah, we did actually mean it.
Sunday, the head of Ukraine.
We just encircled Kyiv. We weren't actually going to take it.
To create a Moscow-controlled region in the south.
We'll back off now. We'll go back down to Kharkiv.
Added that Ukraine would soon be launching guerrilla warfare in Russian-occupied territory.
I don't want to hear from Tucker. There's no Tucker on the show tonight. There are none of the usual douchebags on the show tonight. Good. Zelensky opens the door for Ukraine neutrality in Russia peace deal. This was posted 2 hours ago on Axios. This is the most up-to-date information. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine is prepared to discuss adopting a neutral stance as part of a peace deal with Russia, according to Reuters. Ukraine would not be able to join NATO if it adopted a neutral stance. Zelensky made the remarks during a 90-minute video call with Russian reporters, which Russian authorities had warned Russian media to refrain from participating in. The Ukrainian president spoke Russian throughout the call. A neutral stance would have to be guaranteed by third parties and put to a referendum, Zelensky said in remarks aired on Sunday. Security guarantees and neutrality, non-nuclear status of our state. We are ready to go for it. This is the most important point. Zelensky said he denied other Russian demands like the demilitarization of Ukraine. Ukraine had previously sought to join NATO and approved an amendment in its constitution in 2019 that added membership in the European Union and NATO as strategic goals for the country. Russian President Vladimir Putin has strongly opposed Ukraine joining NATO. You're welcome for no Tucker. There's no Tucker. There's no Ben Shapiro. Oh fuck, I forgot to do the Daily Wire bit. We'll do that at the end then. I've got the comments from my YouTube. My video making fun of Jeremy's razors has 2,000 views. And it's a hell of a lot of people trying to dogpile on me, so I have some fun comments. We'll keep going with the Russia-Ukraine shit right now. Because apparently Biden stuck his foot in his mouth yesterday. The State Department has tried to walk back his comments, but yesterday he was giving a speech where doesn't say where he was at. I don't know if he was still in Poland at this time.
Under false claims of ethnic solidarity is invalidated neighboring nations. Putin has the gall to say he's denazifying Ukraine. It's a lie. Putin has the gall to say he's denazifying Ukraine.
Just said that.
It's a lie. It's just cynical. He knows that. And it's also obscene. President Zelensky was democratic.
The United States has worked hard to Nazify the parts of Ukraine that have been Nazified, and will be damned if Putin will denazify them.
Elected. He's Jewish. His father's family was wiped out in the Nazi Holocaust. And Putin has the audacity, like all our autocrats before him, to believe that might will make right. There's simply no justification or provocation for Russia's choice of war. It's an example of one of the oldest human impulses, using brute force and disinformation to satisfy a craving for absolute power and control. It's nothing less than a direct challenge to the rule-based international order established since the end of World War II.
That new world order you mentioned the other day.
Have cut you, the Russian people, off from the rest of the world. and is taking Russia
For life.
back to the 19th century. This is not who you are. This is not the future you deserve for your families and your children. I'm telling you the truth. This war is not worthy of you, the Russian people.
No malarkey.
Putin can and must end this war. The American people will stand with you and the brave citizens of Ukraine who want peace. Don't even think about moving on one single inch of NATO territory. We have sacred obligation.
Hey, yeah, Rainbow, go vibe.
We have a sacred obligation under Article 5 to defend each and every inch of NATO territory with the full force of our collective power. Be not afraid. A dictator bent on rebuilding an empire will never erase a people's love for liberty. Brutality will never grind down their will to be free. Ukraine will never be a victory for Russia, for free people refused to live in a world of hopelessness and darkness. We will have a different future, a brighter future, rooted in democracy and principles, hope and light, of decency and dignity, of freedom and possibilities.
Abby, he's a war criminal, Jack.
Man cannot remain in power.
That's no malarkey. That was a pretty good speech, actually. Seemed fired up, and he was showing the strength the right wingers crave from a president. Biden mentioned that Putin can't remain in power. That is something that, like, hey, if the people of Russia rise up and take him down, I'm all for it because, you know, I want Alexei Navalny to be freed, and apparently Navalny won't be freed until Putin is gone, a top aide says. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny's new sentence, 9 years. 9 years in a more remote prison colony. I didn't know that he had been sentenced. Jesus fucking Christ. 9 years in a more remote prison colony could potentially endanger his life and sever his contacts with the outside world, according to Vladimir Askarov, the director of Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation. Navalny protested Putin's invasion of Ukraine in court and on social media before a judge handed down the sentence on fraud charges that were widely seen as politically motivated. Navalny had been in prison since returning to Russia in January of 2021 after recuperating from an assassination attempt by Russia's security services. Yes, we are dismayed by the sentence, but we knew that with Putin in power, it's unlikely that Alexei can get out, so it's important for us to continue our work. That's what Askarov told Axios in a Zoom interview from London, where he lives in exile. NATO for everybody! You get NATO! You get NATO! I mean, it's got to be everybody in or everybody out. This bullshit, like, alliances against each other is nonsense. Ooh, subversive flash. Once again, that is attacking Poland is an attack on a NATO force, and that's not good. That's drawing the Western forces into the battle, and like, holy shit, do we want World War III? That's like, I'm on the side of like the U.S. has no business getting involved. This needs to de-escalate quickly. But like, you know, you're dealing with a bully when it comes to Putin. I also think you need to punch a bully in the face when a bully's being a bully. So like, shit. Of course, somebody with the screen name Warlord is going to be on the side of war. This is, it is wild to me how quickly things have devolved, and it's kind of scary. I mean, like, you know, I've got the George Carlin attitude about things. I'm just gonna sit back and watch the world. Quite the show, isn't it? Israeli-Arab summit convenes. Blinken seeks to reassure allies on Iran. Oh, I've reached my fucking article limit. God damn it, I've meant to register my Reuters fucking account. Israeli and Arab partners convened for a rare summit in Israel on Sunday, attended by U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Come over here to my other browser, where I am registered on Reuters. Blinken sought to reassure the U.S. allies over Washington's diplomacy with Iran. The issue is likely to dominate the two-day gathering, which includes foreign ministers from 3 Arab states that normalized ties with Israel in 2020, even as peacemaking with the Palestinians remains stalled. Blinken's visit comes as some U.S. allies in the region question President Joe Biden's administration's commitment to brace for fallout from an Iranian nuclear deal and the Ukrainian crisis. Talks had been close to an agreement several weeks ago until Russia made last-minute demands of the United States, insisting that sanctions imposed on Moscow over its invasion of Ukraine should not affect its trade with Iran. Restoring a 2015 nuclear deal is the best way to put Iran's nuclear program back into the box it was in, according to Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Boom. There you go. Democrats are calling on, just like Democrats always do, not going near far enough as they should. Democrats are calling on Justice Clarence Thomas, who got out of the hospital on Friday, unfortunately.
You have the wife.
I was really hoping he would take a turn for the worse. You know, some people say not to wish ill upon your opponents. I don't care. Well, thank you, MJ. Welcome. Apparently, I really pissed off the folks at the Daily Wire. Since you bring it up and we're in between stories, maybe we'll go ahead and do this. This is the CEO of the Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring. Apparently, he tweeted me out a couple of days ago, yesterday. Second time, the Daily Wire has come for me, and I love it. Some of the comments I got on YouTube, I know this was probably kind of hard to read. The Daily Wire emphasized several times that it was completely okay for a company to stop advertising and to pull their money from them. That's just everyday business, and every company can decide where to place ads and where not to place ads. So that's not what the Daily Wire was upset with. First of all, Harry's knew exactly what the Daily Wire's views were before placing ads. They were totally fine with it until a high school kid with 2 followers on Twitter. And it's so wild that they know all of these details. Like, first of all, like, is the Daily Wire paying you to do their PR? Nephilim. And I had no clue anything about the high school student with 2 followers, and it sounds fucking made up. Apparently, the high school student with 2 followers on Twitter, 2 followers, they capitalized 2. Messaged Harry about Michael Knowles' take about gender from a different show 1 year earlier. This led Harry's to not only draw their ads from the Daily Wire, but also attack them and their viewers for their inexcusable views on Twitter, virtue signaling to the whole world and indirectly making Daily Wire's other advertising partners aware that they should rethink placing ads on the Daily Wire as well. Honey, all the Daily Wire does is virtue signal. Everything is about woke culture, how the left is coming for your kids. It's nonsense. And they keep you scared. They bring up these culture war stories, keep you scared of shit that you don't understand, like the science of gender, so you won't listen to somebody like me when it comes to issues about your wage or tax policy. So they can keep fucking you because the Daily Wire is funded by billionaires. So Harry's was publicly attacking the Daily Wire and their viewers' political and cultural views and attacking their business. That's all Daily Wire ever does. Attacks like Disney and their viewers and their political views, calls them woke companies. That's literally the Daily Wire's MO. That's how they make their money. This is cancel culture, though. Him describing exactly what the Daily Wire does to other companies. That's the example of cancel culture. Thank you. That is exactly what I was saying with my thumbnail. What he's referring to is the thumbnail. The Daily Wire embraces a cancel culture. You just described it, dude. That's exactly what the Daily Wire does to other companies on a daily basis. Releasing a product and competing with other brands isn't cancel culture. Had Harry's just decided to quietly stop their advertising like every normal business partner would have, there wouldn't have been any public reaction from the Daily Wire. But they choose to publicly stab their business partner in the back, who has brought them loads of customers in the past when they didn't mind the Daily Wire's political views. Your take on this story is completely twisted. No, the fact that you are simping for the Daily Wire when they have the money to produce a multi-million-dollar ad for their stupid-ass rip-off razor. $60 goddamn dollars for a shaving kit that is no more than $15 or $20. That you can go to some box department fucking store and get every holiday season, everything in that fucking bag for $15 or $20. It's a rip-off, you stupid fuck. And you're doing their PR for them. They're all over my YouTube channel talking about free speech while they're attacking me for my free speech. It's insane. I'm giving it to you, and I'm pointing out exactly how stupid people that watch the Daily Wire are, and that it's their MO. They're trying to keep you like ignorant of what's actually going on. They want to hit you with this culture war nonsense. How are you simping for this stupid ass fucking company? Go look up where Ben Shapiro got the money to start Daily Wire from, and ask yourselves why fucking these far right billionaire assholes like the Mercers and the Kochs, the Heritage Foundation, why they want to fund a propaganda site that just keeps you constantly triggered. That's what you guys are. You're triggered by everything going on in the world. Like, you come over to my YouTube channel to try to own me because I made fun of their stupid ass commercial, which is literally them doing what they say they're against, which is why I said they're embracing cancel culture. Self-awareness. You guys have no self-awareness. Here's another comment. Trent here. Trent was pretty cool. Trent had a whole conversation with me. Just watched your whole take on it, and I must say, the fact that it looked like it gave you at least 4 strokes and possibly 3 heart attacks. It wasn't a complete sentence. Not to mention your takes on how much money they had makes me want to buy it that much more. How misguided are you? I was talking about the billionaires that funded the Daily Wire. How they were able to afford to make a multi-million-dollar commercial. And this dude's like, oh, I want to give the rich people more money. That makes me smart. I'm not a sheep. Bah! On a personal note, however, and other men, tell me if you also agree, women's razors do... Oh, they gave me props because I use a Bic Soleil. I mentioned that in the video. I use a woman's razor. Women's razors do seem to not only get the job done better, but now I've had girlfriends that used men's razors. So I'd have my little sissy Bic Soleil, and they'd have like a fucking Gillette 4-blade and shit. Conservatives don't always have it down right, but liberals tend not to either. What an astute statement. If anything, I personally feel that most liberals, especially now, tend to express way more hatred and bigotry than they accuse most conservatives of having. Weird. Like, what the fuck is the Daily Wire doing every day on their shows? They're talking about trans athletes. They're talking about how, like, woke colleges are coming for your kids. Like, that's the bigotry right there. I really don't root for one side or the other. However, I see many liberals contradict themselves way more than conservatives. Cool, give me examples. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm sure you're a good guy. We would probably agree with a bunch of stuff. But on this one, yeah, I can't say that this is cancel culture on the part of the Daily Wire. It's called competition in the business market, so Harry's can make a better commercial and compete with the Daily Wire, and people can support either companies with their wallets. I might catch another one of your videos. Until then, take care. Thank you. That was polite. Hey, MJ, if you'd like to have a discussion with me, I take calls and comments. You can hop in the Discord. You can give me a call. We can have a whole conversation. I would love to hear what you have to say. This was my favorite comment. I can't take this account seriously with the Bubble Guppies theme song as your most viewed video. It's actually a John Cena video. It's not a Bubble Guppies theme song. My response was, wait, were you expecting the show with the troll head to be serious? Gilbert here says, I really don't understand capitalism. I assume I understand it better than... Once again, I bring this up all the time. I get called commie by people that I'm pretty certain I'm far more capitalistic than, because I file my taxes as a small business owner. I own my means of production. If you are clocking in, if you are taking orders from a boss, you are not a capitalist. I am a capitalist. Pretty sure I understand capitalism. But hey, Gilbert, maybe you got a point here. For the most part, until recently, we didn't know nor care about the politics of actors or institutions. It's a dangerous thing to deny care based upon beliefs. The fuck is he on about? Deny care based upon beliefs. The fuck? Until recently, we didn't know or care about the politics of actors or institutions. What's your definition of recently? Pretty sure that's always been a thing. You know, back when Ronald Reagan was doing fucking PSAs about the ills of socialized medicine back in the 60s. So, what's your definition of recently? Fuck, right-wingers are morons. Just like the shit that they say isn't even based in reality. Now, capitalism as a philosophy would argue that you can act in certain ways. Obviously, canceling business with another company is acceptable within a free society. The question is, should you boycott or cancel others based on their ideas? Some ideas, yes. But the left no longer wants tolerance. It demands conformity. What the fuck are you talking? You are making assertions. This is my problem with right-wingers, is they just make assertion after assertion after assertion, and they never back it up. They never give examples, supporting evidence, And they think you should take their assertions at face value. And I do not. I think what you're saying is stupid. If the church should tolerate homosexuality, then the LGBT community should tolerate the church. The fuck does that mean? The fuck does that mean? That statement isn't cogent. It doesn't portray anything. That includes the church's position on homosexuality. Fuck. If you don't tolerate them, then they will not tolerate you. And what comes next? Civil strife. Yeah, you get what you want. The dissolution of the republic. The fuck is this motherfucker going on about? So yes, you should tolerate gay people. They exist in society. That's a thing. Jesus Christ. How many idiot leftists despise the U.S. Constitution? I doubt you've read the Constitution, Gilbert, whereas I have. I don't know, but when you have law students shouting down philosophical opponents, then we're getting dangerously close to collapse. You must be so proud. Once again, what the fuck are you talking about? Law students shouting down philosophical opponents. And I think I had a conversation with Gilbert, and he went on and was like, I see videos of it all the time. Law students shouting down political opponents.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Yes. You are attacking companies simply for being billionaires. You have a lot of videos to make. Well, no, I'm not simply attacking them for being billionaires. That's an idiotic statement. But we know that you won't be making any videos about liberal billionaire companies because that isn't really why you made this video. You just want to be like... First off, I would love to know what companies he considers liberal. Like Disney? Is Disney liberal? One of the woke companies? Probably thinks Google's liberal. Ooh, man, have I got some news for you. He probably thinks Facebook is liberal. Man, have I got some news for you. And man, have I made some videos about companies I'm pretty sure you would consider liberal. Idiot. You just want to be like more manly men who get to use terms like cancel culture. Manly men get to use terms like cancel culture. Ben Shapiro's a manly man. Matt Walsh is a man. Hold on. Where's that picture of Matt? Matt Walsh made a joke about how much I could bench press. Remember? And I had that picture of him. Like, this motherfucker made a joke about how much I can bench press. Where the fuck is that picture? Manly men. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't have it, but like, there's another picture I have of Matt Walsh. Does that look like a manly man? That's what a manly man is to conservatives. You know, I've never played Borderlands, but Tiny Tina's Wonderland looks really cool. I was actually watching a review of it earlier, Porg. Looked pretty cool. I'll probably get it at some point in time when it's on sale. So that's been me getting piled on by stupid ass right wingers. If you guys like to troll comment sections, go troll the comment section of that video. It's hilarious. Matt Walsh is definitely not smart. I had this picture of him in his little sweater, because I was trying, when he made the comment about how much I could bench press, I tried to go find a full body shot of him so I could actually figure out like how big Matt Walsh is. Could I take Matt Walsh? Because I think I probably could. but I couldn't really find a full body shot of him. I finally did find one. He's in this little like brown sweater, and he looks like just the biggest fucking dork. I had the picture handy for the longest time. Now I can't find it. Cleaned out my folder. Spider, dip. Up, my people. Conservatives review bombed it. I don't doubt that. That's one of the reasons why, like, idiot right-wingers have a fervor for content. Like, I can go and put my content up on, like, Getter and Parler with like a bait title, and I can get so many views off of it. And that's kind of been the way it's been my plan with the Troll Patrol, and so far it's worked out. Like, I let the right-wingers drive up the numbers on my content in hopes that... Because, I mean, like, I got ratioed on that video. It's only got, like, fucking 11 likes to 80 fucking dislikes or something. But even the dislikes bumped me up in like, you can't even see dislikes anymore. But I don't care. I wish they'd left the dislikes on there. I think it's funny. But even the dislikes bumps up the visibility of the video. So it's like fucking thank you, Daily Wire. Thank you, Matt Walsh, for playing a clip of the Troll Patrol on your show. Thank you, Jeremy Boring, for tweeting me out. You guys have been a big help to my career. Also, my buddy Dale Jackson, the radio host over here, I was talking with him the other day. Trying to get him come on and debate me. He won't do it. He seemed very jealous that a clip of my show got played on the Daily Wire. Like, he would love to have a clip of his show get played on the Daily Wire. They are not cognitively sophisticated at all. And these propaganda outlets make them feel like they're smart. Watching shit like the Daily Wire and Jordan Peterson, Steven Crowder, they hear their arguments, and those arguments sound good. And they think that they're smart, and they think like, oh, well, I know what I'm talking about. But they're idiots. They're fucking like, the Daily Wire is lying to you. They are playing on your ignorance. Turn off the Daily Wire. So Democrats are calling for Justice Thomas who got released from the hospital on Friday. They are calling for Justice Thomas to recuse himself from cases dealing with January 6th, which, as always with Democrats, is not near enough. Just calling on him to recuse himself from cases involving January 6th is not enough. He should be impeached. He should be pressured to resign, or he should be impeached. Without question. So this is a couple of the Democrats, starting off with Amy Klobuchar, was on the Sunday morning shows this morning.
You have the wife of a sitting Supreme Court justice advocating for an insurrection, advocating for overturning a legal election to the sitting president's chief of staff. And she also knows this election, these cases are going to come before her husband. This is a textbook case for removing him, recusing him from these decisions.
I don't think...
Yeah, no fan of Klobuchar, but she's right on this one.
Whether it's in the legislative branch or in the judicial branch, that would be a new precedent. But I do think that if a case comes before him that's exactly on point, again, as to probably records and whether they should be made available.
But it's not just Democrats. This is actually Republican Rob Portman.
I admire and respect Clarence Thomas. I think he's been a great
Republican Rick
Supreme Court
Scott.
Justice. And Clarence Thomas, in my opinion, will always do the right thing.
And I think most of America doesn't understand that I could be a justice and I could give a paid speech in front of a group that has either a direct matter in front of the Supreme Court or has amicus briefs in front of
That was projection, Dustin. Him worrying about the court being politicized is nothing but projection. Also, like, this week I've learned apparently it's amicus briefs. I always thought it was amicus briefs. I've learned something new. I can't believe I've been saying it wrong all this time.
of the Supreme Court. There are a lot of ethics rules that they have not put upon themselves.
Looks like you want your soul.
Lead to a delegitimized court.
Thomas himself recused himself in 1995 from a case involving a school because his son was going to that school. The entire integrity of the court is on the line here.
These texts drop off. They go away in December and January. Given the passion with which Mrs. Thomas was texting, are you confident that Meadows has handed over all of his texts?
Nope.
I'm not confident that Meadows has handed over everything at all. I mean, he was cooperating with us.
Old Buchanan Clarence Thomas.
Make Donald Trump happy. He stopped cooperating. He's waived executive privilege, 1,000 times by presenting us what he already has. So no, I'm not convinced he's handed over everything to us.
I always thought it was amicus briefs. Like as I've stated in the past, like, I really enjoyed court reporting when I was doing news. Kinzinger is still a conservative. He may be on the right side when it comes to holding people accountable for January the 6th, but he is still a conservative. U.S. Representative Jeff Fortenberry of Nebraska has announced his resignation. He is a Republican. He resigned from office on Saturday after a California jury convicted him of lying to federal authorities about an illegal campaign donation from a foreign national. In a letter to the House of Representatives, Fortenberry said he was resigning from Congress effective on Thursday. It has been my honor to serve with you in the United States House of Representatives. Due to the difficulties of my current circumstances, I can no longer effectively serve. Fortenberry's resignation letter opened with a poem. Do it anyway. That's associated with Mother Teresa, who was also not a very savory character. One line from the poem says, "What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway." What a fucking piece of shit. You're full of yourself, aren't you, Fortenberry? Fortenberry was under pressure from political leaders in Nebraska and Washington to step down. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy urged Fortenberry to resign on Friday. Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts, a Republican, said Fortenberry should do the right thing for his constituents and leave office. Held office since 2005, Fortenberry was indicted in October after authorities said he lied to FBI agents in two separate interviews about his knowledge of an illegal $30,000 contribution from his campaign from a foreign billionaire. Fortenberry was interviewed at his home in Lincoln, then with his lawyers present in Washington. At trial, prosecutors presented recorded phone conversations in which Fortenberry was repeatedly warned that the contributions came from Gilbert Chadjouri, Nigerian billionaire of Lebanese descent. The donations were funneled through three straw men at a fundraiser in 2016 in Los Angeles. Be cocky, Sky. Oh, yeah. Flaunt it. Move from Nebraska to the primary race for the Senate in Missouri. Ex-wife accuses top Missouri GOP Senate candidate of abuse. Former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens is now a leading Republican Senate candidate. Was physically abusive and demonstrated such unstable and coercive behavior that steps were taken to limit his access to firearms, according to new allegations from his ex-wife revealed in court records on Monday. An affidavit from Sheena Greitens is part of an ongoing child custody dispute in Missouri. Public affairs professor at the University of Texas. She sought divorce from Eric Greitens after a sex scandal, which led to his resignation as governor in June 2018. She's now asking the court to move the custody case to the Austin area, in part to spare her children from renewed public attention as Greitens tries to mount a political comeback. Eric Greitens called the allegations completely fabricated and baseless. I am seeking full custody of my sons, and for their sake, I will continue to pray for their mother and hope that she gets the help that she needs. Fucking sounds like a gaslighter. Attorney on Monday asked a judge to block the affidavit from public view, saying open access could cause irreparable harm to his reputation as candidacy. Oh, boo fucking who? An attorney for Sheena Greitens did not respond to a message seeking comment. The allegations could complicate his bid to emerge from Missouri's August 2nd primary as the GOP nominee and potentially jeopardize his party's chance to hold on to a key Senate seat in the general election. Affidavit, Sheena Greitens cast her ex-husband as someone who threatened to use his political connections and influence in order to destroy her reputation to win custody of the children. Prior to our divorce, during an argument in late 2018, Eric knocked me down and confiscated my cell phone, wallet, and keys so that I was unable to call for help or extricate myself and our children from our home. I became afraid for my safety and that of our children at our home. Later adding that his behavior included physical violence toward our children, such as cuffing our then 3-year-old son across the face at a dinner table in front of me and yanking him around by his hair. In 2019, one of her sons came home from a visit with his dad with a swollen face, bleeding gums, and a loose tooth. He said dad had hit him. However, Eric said they were roughhousing and it had just been an accident. The tooth eventually had to be removed. Once a swing state, Missouri has become more reliably Republican in recent years, but the race to succeed retiring Senator Roy Blunt is nonetheless receiving national attention because some in the GOP establishment are anxious that, with the allegations released on Monday and previous scandals, Greitens would face vulnerabilities against a Democrat. And with the Senate evenly divided, the GOP can't afford to lose what would otherwise be a safe seat. Candidates in the race on Monday called for Greitens to end his campaign. I don't think he will. He was adamant about he was accused, this is the dude that was accused of locking a woman up in his basement and torturing her sexually. And that's why he resigned from being governor. And he was adamant about not resigning then. So I think he will continue. He has Trump's backing. Of course he does. Then in a twist in this whole story, one of the investigators that was looking into charges against him has pled guilty to evidence tampering. The investigator hired by St. Louis Circuit Attorney to work the case against former Governor Greitens accepts a plea deal.
Originally, William Dontisby was facing 7 felony charges, perjury and evidence tampering. Today, he pleaded.
I hope he continues running. I hope he continues running and wins the primary. I want him to win the primary and be the nominee against the Democrat. I think the Democrats could pick up that seat. This is the investigator that was looking into Greitens. Yes, wait, what? Exactly. Let's get the story on exactly what happened. He has accepted a plea deal for evidence tampering.
Facing 7 felony charges, perjury and evidence tampering. Today, he pleaded guilty to just 1 misdemeanor and will face no jail time.
When Mr. Tisby leaves town today, I'm sure he won't return to St. Louis for any matter.
William Dontisby and his attorney left court today with what could be considered a legal victory, a plea deal that gives.
He's leaving Missouri. He ain't coming the fuck back. That St. Louis barbecue ain't enough to bring him back. That fucking arch ain't pretty to him. You just missed it, Warlord. You just fucking missed it.
Him only probation.
Ultimately, Mr. Tisby made the final decision. He wanted to enter a plea of guilty, and
did he just say Mr. T? Mr. T made the final decision.
He considered a legal victory, a plea deal that gives him only probation.
Ultimately, Mr. Tisby made the final decision. He wanted to enter a plea of guilty, and I think it's a fair resolution.
Tisby, a former FBI agent, was hired by Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner back in 2018 to help investigate then Governor Eric Greitens. In allegations, he took a compromising photo of a woman with whom he had an affair. But during depositions, Greitens' attorneys accused Tisby of lying under oath and failing to produce certain documents to the defense team. Greitens' case was ultimately dismissed when he resigned. However, after a lengthy separate investigation by a special prosecutor, Tisby himself was charged, and today he admitted to concealing.
They do have barbecue, and I don't blame you. Memphis and Texas have great barbecue. North Carolina has great barbecue. I'm in Alabama. We got a white barbecue sauce. It's worth a try. I prefer it on a smoked turkey or a smoked chicken. You do that at barbecue places around here. You get a smoked turkey with that fucking white vinegar-based barbecue sauce. Good shit.
And suppressing some documents in the case.
Just negligence in this matter. It was a slew of documents that he had, and he just went into that deposition really just not prepared, and
yep,
that's what it was. It was no malice in this man's heart.
Robert Russell, the second special prosecutor assigned from the other side of the state, said he was concerned Tisby wasn't truthful under oath.
That's going to follow him, and I think that's a fairly strong, you might call it a scarlet letter.
So his defense was just he was careless and was ill-prepared for the FBI's questioning of the case he was investigating. Are you serious? He was an FBI agent.
Carry as a law enforcement officer going forward.
However, while some have questioned whether the circuit attorney was obligated to correct Tisby, he says there's no evidence she asked Tisby to conceal anything.
Is there any ongoing criminal case then, or is it done here?
It is done.
And here's the thing, is this is the Republicans are going to use to say all the charges against Greitens are nonsense. You know it. So I have no doubt that he will continue in the race. No doubt at all. Maybe he can give Tommy Tuberville a run for dumbest man in the Senate. Tuberville hits the streets, does a jaywalking like segment. Apparently Tuberville, he knows he's a fucking laughingstock, so now he's trying to be a comedian. He's hitting the streets, Coach on the streets, to ask Americans about...
Hello, Coach Tommy Tuberville here. You know, we're seeing record high gas
prices, of course. Gas prices.
Affecting everyone from families to businesses. One thing is for sure, Americans need relief, and they need it now. We need to stop buying oil from convicts and criminals and unleash American energy. So I'm going to hit the street.
Sounds like he wants us to cut our dependency on Saudi Arabia and invest in green energy here in the United States. And Coach, that is something I can agree with.
To see how real Americans are affected by these out of control.
He doesn't deserve to be called senator.
President Biden needs to do more to make the United States
yes, it's weed time.
Energy independent. So let's go. Well,
this is a 2-minute video, and he spent almost a minute of it on the intro, so we're not going to hear much from people on the streets.
Well, here we go, $5.19 a gallon. Joe Biden, you got to be proud.
So diesel, I saw some trucks, they filling up the tank is like $1,000, $1,100.
We could be producing 100% here in this country alone, and we wouldn't have to lean on anybody else. This time last year, at this same
in Alabama, being Coach Tuberville is probably a lot more prestigious than being Senator Tuberville, honestly. It's Alabama, remember? Alabama. They love their foot. Roll damn Tide. So he was to be correct, he was not the coach of University of Alabama. He was the coach of Auburn, the other Alabama football team.
Pump, I was paying around $3 a gallon. Now it's $5.19. I just filled up and it was almost double this time last year.
It's crazy. I was just taking a photo of it.
2 years ago when I moved here it was $3 a gallon. Now it's $5.19.
That's crazy.
Do you want to pay $5.19 or you want to pay $3?
$3.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
You know, the problem with our gas prices.
Now, he's out in D.C. Now, that is one of the reasons for the inflated gas price. You're in fucking Washington, D.C.
Everything else is going up. You know, because of transportation, you know, supplies.
Eggs, milk, all going up.
Yeah, all going up. And, you know, at the end of the day, don't y'all think we should be energy independent, that we should dig our own oil? You agree with me, right?
100%.
Yeah. Can't believe I'm paying $2 more a gallon than I was this time last year.
Allow me to point out something that idiot-ass Tuberville doesn't understand. There are like 9,000 leases right now currently that U.S. oil companies have. They're not efficient enough to drill. They're not cost efficient enough to drill with the current price of oil per barrel. What idiot-ass right-wingers don't understand is that most of the oil in the United States is either offshore or is in places like Amwar, which is frozen. So it's a hell of a lot more expensive to extract that oil. They don't fucking understand. They're idiots. They don't understand anything. So there's like 9,000 leases out there that U.S. oil companies for domestic oil production that they're just sitting on because the price of oil right now per barrel doesn't dictate that it would be cost efficient for them to get the oil out of the ground. You idiots. We did the Sarah Palin thing about her wanting to be the representative from Alaska. We did that last week. We did that on Thursday. We are going to talk about COVID though. COVID is coming. COVID is coming. It's been in the back of your mind, guys. Sparkles and I went out to dinner last night. We let it rip. No mask. No nothing. I'm fully boosted. But like the lull period is going to be over soon and cases are going to skyrocket. If you have not gotten a booster yet, now would be the time to get a booster. Dig more oil. Come on. Trying to explain coal to people and like the concept of peak oil or peak coal. How once you get over that hump where like you get the easiest amount of the crude or the coal out of the ground, the second half of it, it gets more and more expensive as you go down. Fucking idiots.
I can't believe it either, but well, maybe some things will change.
Yeah.
Guys like you.
Yeah. What do y'all think about these high gas prices?
It could be better.
What do you think about high gas prices?
They are killer, yes.
Think we ought to be.
Oh yeah, they clean it with a cloth. They take the lump of coal, they squirt some Dawn, the dish cleaner on it. You can get the off brand if you want to, but the Dawn works best. It cuts that grease. Fucking, there is no such thing as clean coal. What they're talking when someone says clean coal, what they mean is carbon Let me look at it and see if I can. Let me look at the sequestration. God, fucking say it for me.
Carbon sequestration.
Carbon sequestration. Thank you. Oh shit. But that's what they're talking about when they're talking about clean coal, and that ain't a thing. Like that's like the best you get. Like It's the same thing with nuclear. It's like, we'll just fucking bundle up the shit and we'll bury it somewhere. That ain't clean. That doesn't solve the problem. That just kicks the can down the road. That's why I'm very much open to nuclear, but like that's the issue, is the storage of nuclear waste. Storage and disposal of the waste is the issue, as far as I can tell. And we don't have a good solution for that yet. These poor children. Why are these parents? They need to be investigated by CPS, because like they're subjecting these kids to dumbass Tuberville.
Be energy independent.
Oh, totally.
Thank you. What do you think about these high energy prices? I guess.
Not a fan ever. I'm a school teacher. I need every penny I can.
So the message is clear. We need to pump our own oil, American energy, and one person can handle that, and he lives down on.
Did you not just hear what I said, Tuberville? I pointed out the flaw in your argument there, you dumbass. You know, let's talk about it. Let's talk about proposals, because apparently the White House does have proposals. The White House is studying options on gas prices as Senator Bernie Sanders. Hey, what the fuck? I don't know why my ad blocker didn't block that well. Senator Bernie Sanders is pushing for a profits tax. As well he should. I'm not going to be able to read the Reuters article either. Oh shit. Wall Street powers stocks higher. Oil lower. U.S. stocks rose following choppy trading abroad on Thursday, and oil prices pulled back as investors watched Western leaders present a unified front against Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This was the news on Friday. Oil lower. Biden ain't gonna do no fucking tax on no billion. Bernie gonna keep pushing though. Bernie fighting the good fight. God bless him. So I listened to an interview with Ro Khanna on Tom Hart. You guys all know that I've pushed that Katie Porter should primary Joe Biden in 2024. Apparently there is a push for Ro Khanna to run in 2024 in case Joe Biden doesn't. I wouldn't mind Ro Khanna. That would be perfectly fine with me. I still think Katie Porter would be the better option, but Ro Khanna would be just fine. I fucking forgot the point I was gonna make. Where was I going with that? I was listening to an interview with Ro Khanna. I don't fucking remember what I was gonna bring up. He doesn't understand. Tommy Tuberville has no clue how anything works. The way to solve the oil crisis is to nationalize the oil industry. Katie Porter looks like a fucking librarian. I think she would be like a comfortable enough face. Ro Khanna may be too swarthy for this moment. I think the U.S. is absolutely ready for a woman president. Hillary Clinton was just a shit candidate. Elizabeth Warren was just a shit candidate. Kamala Harris, just a shit candidate. Just saying. yes, we don't have that much oil. I don't remember what, something like we got enough to last us for 50 to 100 years, something like that is the estimate. I mean, if we keep increasing our use of it, have it for that long. U.S. powers down its COVID defenses. With America in a pandemic lull, communities across the country are choosing to shut down COVID testing and vaccination sites, even as experts warn that another wave could be on the horizon. The Omicron surge showed how our defenses can be quickly overwhelmed, but many places are scaling back anyway. These latest shifts are often taking place in more solidly Democratic areas that have prided themselves on their pandemic response so far. Colorado announced last week its intention to close 14 state-run testing and vaccination sites by the end of the month, and it ended a program to ship at-home rapid tests to residents. That means definitive PCR tests and vaccines in the state, including boosters, will more often need to come from battle-weary healthcare providers moving forward. New strategies are needed because vaccine demand is plummeting. Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment spokesperson Kristen Stewart told Axios. Minnesota is similarly preparing to shift into an endemic phase of pandemic management by finalizing plans to close community testing and vaccination sites. As well you should be, Spider, because I'm going to show you why. Because this is our future. And when I saw the chart looks exactly like the curve of the Omicron wave, which, by the way, was the deadliest wave thus far. China continues to battle severe and complex COVID outbreak. Cases shoot up in the UK. Reading from India Today. India logged 1,600 new COVID cases in 24 hours on Saturday, taking the active case tally to 16,000. With the lull in cases, India is limping, or rather running, back to almost complete normalcy. On Sunday, scheduled international passenger flights resumed after more than 2 years. However, this is not the case across the globe. Some parts of the world are, yet again, reeling under the pressure of high COVID-19 caseloads. The WHO earlier reported that the number of new coronavirus cases increased 2 weeks in a row globally. Jesus. China continues to battle its worst COVID-19 outbreak, driven by the Omicron variant. On Friday, health officials called the situation severe and complex. The mainland reported 1,200 locally transmitted COVID-19 cases and 55 imported cases in 24 hours on Friday. More than 20 provinces and cities in the country have imposed travel bans and lockdowns. Coronavirus cases in the UK have shot up by nearly 1 million in a week. 4.26 million cases, up from 3.3 million the week before. The Office for National Statistics attributed the sharp rise in cases to the Omicron BA2 variant, an even more transmissible form of the highly transmissible Omicron. The number of people in hospital with virus is also on the rise, though the cases of severe illness remain low. Let me show you the graph I was talking about earlier. It as well when you're not in the well, shit. Oh, I was. Here we go. This is the Omicron wave. Going back to the fall, Omicron wave and the peak. Notice how the case count, this is in the UK. Notice how the case count is going up where the Omicron peak was. And that line is heading right back up. That the graph we were looking at earlier was zoomed all the way out. I think it went back all the way to the start of the pandemic. This just goes back to like June of last year. Yay! I went and got my booster last week. Well, I was like, hey, Sparkles, let's go get sushi and pad thai while we can. Apparently, not all Thai places serve sushi. Like sushi and pad thai together, what a perfect fucking combination. We got a yum yum roll and a pink dragon roll. Oh my god, they were both amazing. Different reasons. Old plate of pad thai. We always split a pad thai. You want to talk about climate change? Let's talk about the other fucking catastrophe that we're going to see express itself this year. For those of you unaware, it is looking like we are, it sounds naughty, crunchy. It has salmon and shrimp. It's like fried shrimp on top of it. It's so fucking good. Like shrimp tempura shit. Oh. If you're unaware, we are looking at a record-breaking year for high temperatures, apparently. We are expecting multiple heat waves. It's weird because I thought we were in a La Nina and this was supposed to be a mild year. Apparently not. Already seeing a heat wave in the western United States. Texas has been on fire for weeks now. Multiple wildfires reignite across North Texas. They're burning tonight. We got some video from one of the local news hits. It'll cooperate with me.
Reminder today just how volatile these fire conditions are right now. Look at this particular video. Incredible. This is from the early police
God
department. Damn. 2 hours southwest of Fort Worth, just east of Brownwood. They say the blanket fire that started last week reignited.
They're already popping up. They're popping up in Colorado again. They're popping up in California. I think Montana is on a fire watch right now. We are looking at drought conditions all over the West.
Today, and it's spreading. That is tough to look at, folks. Right now, they say the towns of Early and Blanket, they are not at risk. They're actually asking everyone to actually avoid the area. Now, at last check, the fire had burned about 130 acres, but it is 50% contained this evening.
Heat wave shatters records across California, spells trouble for drought-dried state. And like California has stopped having fire seasons. It's just fire all year round. California's record dry start to the year is verging with record high temperatures as an early spring heat wave settles over large swaths of the state. Multiple temperature records were shattered Tuesday and Wednesday, according to the National Weather Service, including some that were nearly a century old. Santa Rosa, a sweltering 89-degree high on Tuesday, broke the previous record temperature for the date. Carmelo, the temperature hit 90 degrees and broke an 88-degree record last seen in 2008. The dome of high pressure that's sitting overhead, said David Sweet, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Oxnard. Dome of warm air and downward vertical motions. Other temperature records set Tuesday include 89 degrees in Oxnard, 88 degrees in Red Bluff, 86 degrees in Santa Maria and King City, 85 in Redwood, 85 in downtown Oakland. Jesus. The heat stretched all the way into the northern reaches of the state. Head over to Wyoming. Yeah, climate change confirmed. If you haven't, and if you have any doubts, like don't just take my word for it. Here, wait until I show you what's going on the east side of the United States. Record-breaking high temps likely through Monday in Wyoming. Most locations across western and central Wyoming are likely to see record-breaking high temperatures, 20 to 25 degrees above normal both Sunday and Monday, and fire danger is elevated across the state, according to the National Weather Service. Winds and gusts Sunday should generally be less robust than those seen yesterday. Nevertheless, fire behavior will be more extreme than usual for this time of year. Meanwhile, let's check out what's happening in Massachusetts. While much of the United States is seeing record high temperatures, Massachusetts to face an Arctic blast and possible record low temperatures. This is at the same time. Sorry, warm weather lovers. Old man winter is roaring back yet again in the Bay State this week as forecasters predict a chance for record low high temperatures on Monday. Single-digit wind chills are possible. Going to be a chilly start to the week, said Rob Mednia. I'm sorry, I fucked his name up. Sorry, Rob. Meteorologist at the National Weather Service's Boston office. The winds will be blowing pretty good, so wind chills could be in the single digits. It'll be a cold, blustery couple of days to start the week. The peak of the cold is expected to be Monday morning and Tuesday morning, when those frigid wind chills are predicted. Forecasted high for Boston on Monday is 32 degrees. That would be a record low high temperature for March 28th. Oh, I wonder what's causing all this. Causing all this is Ric Flair. Record-smashing heat waves are hitting Antarctica and the Arctic at the same fucking time. Record-breaking heat waves hit both Antarctica and the Arctic simultaneously this past week. Temperatures reaching 47 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius higher than normal. Heat waves are bizarre at any time in Antarctica, but particularly now at the equinox as Antarctica is about to descend into winter darkness. Likewise, up north, the Arctic is just emerging from winter. These two heat waves linked? We don't know yet. It's most likely a coincidence, but we do know weather systems in Antarctica and the Arctic are connected to regions nearest to them. These connections sometimes reach all the way to the tropics. Climate change the cause? It might be, while it's too soon to say for sure. We do know climate change is making polar heat waves more common and severe. The poles are warming faster than the global average. I'm sorry, Spider, and content warning for this one because this one's sad. Ice shelf collapses in East Antarctica for the first time. Scientists said on Friday that an ice shelf the size of New York City collapsed in East Antarctica after record high temperatures. This marks the first time in human history that an ice shelf collapsed in the region, which had long been considered stable and less vulnerable to climate change. Water frozen in East Antarctica melts. It would raise sea levels more than 160 feet around the world. Ice shelves are a kind of safety belt around the margins of the continent. University of Minnesota ice scientist Peter Neff said in a video posted to Twitter. Let's hear what he has to say.
Shelf collapsed in Antarctica in the last week, and I spent my morning giving newspaper and radio interviews. Here's why.
This here is a little conger ice shelf in East Antarctica that has been in pretty bad shape for a while. This is an ice shelf just hanging on to a little island here. And come March of this year, just last week, it's collapsed. So on the face of it, Conger's a pretty small ice shelf. There won't be direct effects from just this ice shelf collapse. But we didn't expect in this part of Antarctica, which is attached to the highest, driest, coldest region, East Antarctica, we really did not anticipate seeing ice shelf collapse here. Ice shelves are important features for Antarctica. They're the floating extensions of the ice sheet, and they're sort of our safety belt around the margin. So if they collapse, a lot of upstream ice accelerates. Here's little Conger, no longer there. Here's the kicker. This is going to continue to happen in a warming world. So the best thing we can do is get rid of our fossil fuels, stop emitting greenhouse gases, and limit the amount of warming we experience.
Did you hear that, Tuberville? Stupid fuck. UN climate chief is calling climate change a grave threat to life. First ever Middle East and North African Climate Week runs from March 28th to the 31st as one of the world's most vulnerable regions to climate change seeks ways to address its dire threat. About 600 million people, or 50% of MENA's population, may be exposed to super extreme weather events by 2100 at current projections. We're seeing extreme weather events right now. Super extreme weather events. While promises have been made to transition to renewable energy and green technologies, there are many urgent steps that need to be taken, focusing on adaptation to extreme heat, water scarcity, and declining food production, among other ominous repercussions. And that's another thing about wanting to drill for oil. Our water table is being depleted. Drilling for oil contaminates our water table. So infuriating that conservatives don't want to, conserve the planet. This is an article on Al Jazeera. It's an interview with Patricia Espinosa, Executive Secretary of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. If you'd like to check that out, that was published in Al Jazeera yesterday. The title of the article is Grave Threat to Life. But wildfires in Tennessee. That's Sir, you just missed it. We went all over the heat waves. Then we went on like Boston's getting ready to get hit with record low temperatures. Heat waves in the Arctic and in the Antarctic. It's fucking insane. But if you watch right wing
cancel.
You watch right wing shows talking about news and political topics. What are they talking about? They're talking about cancel culture. The Vibe Cultivator Network. I don't know how I come across these people. The Vibe Cultivator Network, featuring Tio Hardiman and Jarrell Corley. We're going to talk about how we should cancel culture. This is like a 30-minute segment. I don't know if we're going to get through all this, but let's give the guys a listen. Let's go into it with an open mind. I'm persuadable. I'm reasonable. The first thing I want when I'm listening to a right-winger talk about something like cancel culture is I want a clear definition of what cancel culture is to them. This is a very malleable term. Define what you're talking about when you say cancel culture. Give it clear parameters, and then give me supporting evidence of how this is happening. Do you guys think these two men will be able to accomplish that for me? Can you give me a concise definition as to what cancel culture is, and then give me supporting evidence that it is occurring? I would appreciate that.
Culture. How do you feel cancel culture has ultimately
Not high enough for this shit.
become ironic in a sense that it might be toxic itself? Are they taking it too far? How do you feel about cancel culture, and do you think ultimately it might be self-defeating?
Well, when it comes to cancel culture, I'm totally against the cancel culture type of mindset due to the fact we have a First Amendment here in the United States, freedom of speech, freedom to be.
Where's my definition of what you're talking about? Freedom of speech protects you from the government being able to lock you up for your opinions.
Be who we are. That's what made the United States the United States. Actually, the moral of the story is this here.
That's what there was somebody on the Daily Wire thread that was arguing with me, and they were like, law students shouting down speakers at a college. I'm like, you do realize that's speech, right? Protesting is speech. That is protected speech. You are the one attacking free speech. Especially when we're talking about a college student who goes to a university who treats them as if they are consuming a product. And capitalism has taught them that they are a consumer and that the customer is always right in matters of taste and preference. Just to get a lot of people misquote that. But they are taught to consume college as if it's a product. So the college needs to reflect their values. Bringing on a bigoted speaker, and that's one of the things, right-wingers, stop bringing up free speech on college campuses. That is a goddamn Nazi talking point. George Lincoln Rockwell, the father of the American Nazi movement, is the one that invented that tactic. He went to colleges expecting his Nazi ass to be protested for good fucking reason, because he's a goddamn Nazi. And I'm not just saying that. That's not a liberal just saying that about somebody, right? I know you guys get your panties in a wad a lot. Not me just calling a guy a Nazi. That's a dude that is a self-professed fucking Nazi. This is George Lincoln Rockwell. There he is in front of a Nazi flag. So literal fucking Nazi. Just to be clear here. He would go to college campuses with the idea that he was going to be protested. Because he's a fucking Nazi. Then he would go to the local radio station. See, they're trampling on my free speech. And that's how they got people that don't pay much attention to what's going on to side with Nazis. Fucking idiots. Don't fall for that shit.
Should be able to say what they choose to say without worrying about losing their job or losing their status. And don't get me wrong, if you're the president of the United States, you should be censored to a degree because, you have a lot of people that are listening to you. Celebrities should not lose opportunities.
Not necessarily censored, but you should exercise a certain level of discretion, possibly. Because
I would never agree with
the leader.
I would never agree with the cancel culture. Now, when you had Donald Trump as president, that eliminates the cancel culture right there. You had a president that would say anything he wanted to say. When we get finished talking, President Donald Trump canceled the cancel culture. All right? Because you had a president that made fun of...
Well, then can you guys shut the fuck up about it?
Latino people. He said people from Haiti and South America come from shithole countries. Made fun of everybody in the United States. Women. Talked about groping on women and everything.
He made fun of a famous POW, John McCain.
Yeah.
Made fun of John McCain. He just didn't care. So there shouldn't the cancel, for example.
So cancel culture doesn't exist. You're bitching about nonsense.
Topic nobody wants to talk about. Now,
reverse thread. Thank you for the sub.
LGBT community. All right. I may not agree with that, the way their lifestyle or whatever, but that does not mean I'm against them.
Appreciate the support.
About it, people become very angry with you, and I don't think you should be canceled because you just may not agree. So, Dave Chappelle went through some changes there, made a few comments, but he bounced back. He made a comeback, all right?
Dave Chappelle was never canceled. There's no way to cancel a rich person. J.K. Rowling has not been canceled. Nobody that claims they've been canceled has actually been canceled. Everything's subjective. Like that's so what that's what's wild about the term is it's subjective. That's why I said I wanted a definition for what they mean by cancel culture.
Right now, the one thing I do not like, I don't think nobody that's African American people can use the N-word, but people from other races and nationalities should not use the N-word without a doubt. And most of the African American people should not use the N-word. But I don't think nobody should be canceled in the Black community for using the N-word. But if you're from another, like I said, if you're from another culture, do not use the N-word. All right, I think it's reserved just for Black people if they choose to use it. All right, and that's
I can agree with that.
Such as that happens. Let's just say, for instance, I think it was Joe Rogan. He was recently under fire for dropping the N-word. What do you think should happen, or how do you feel about those instances? Like, how should the public handle that sort of situation?
Let me just be honest with you. Anybody white that uses the N-word, even if the white guy kind of, he has a relationship.
Thank you, Doodle Muffin. I needed a hit.
Especially Joe Rogan.
Love the name Doodle Muffin.
Use the N-word in settings around Black people because he has a lot of African-American friends or whatever the case may be. But any white person that is well learned out here, a critical thinking white person would know.
Wait. Did he just give Joe Rogan a pass? Joe Rogan has an N-word pass?
I cannot use this N-word unless I'm really around some Black folks that accept it from me, but I cannot use the word in any other type of setting at all.
Especially a public setting.
Welcome, Doodle Muffin.
Some sort of blowback, basically, right?
He might be used to using the N-word because he's around some associates that may use the N-word. So I don't use the N-word, as much as I probably used to because it was just commonplace in the hood. My man. It's just the way we talk to each other sometimes. I'm not going to use it now. I just say the N-word, but the reality is that people should not be canceled because they have a different point of view.
He gave you some potty washed up in his jeans.
Or something like that. You are pushing hatred and all that, but sometimes people make mistakes. Like Whoopi Goldberg, she said the Holocaust was not about race. To me, the Holocaust was all about race.
I don't even want to get into that anymore because I defended Whoopi because I thought what she was saying is that it was about much more than race, that they persecuted other groups. But no. Like, she said some stupid, like after we watched the Stephen Colbert interview, I don't know what the fuck Whoopi was talking about. And I denounce my taking up for Whoopi after we watched the original comment. Because I thought she meant they also persecuted gay people and trans people. And, it was about more than just race. No. She was making some kind of a point that it was like white on white crime or some shit. And I'm like, Whoopi, what? Anyway.
She shouldn't be canceled because of that. She got suspended. But at the same time, there should never have been a conversation about canceling Whoopi Goldberg because she made that comment. Think about it. Adolf Hitler, his whole fight was about making the Germans a superior race. Everybody else was inferior to the Germans. So yes, it was.
Punch him in the tank.
She didn't get the message, but she shouldn't be canceled because she may have misspoke or something like that in that reality based on her knowledge. Okay, so that's why I'm totally against the cancel culture because, as a matter of fact, I wanted to produce a show titled The FU Show, where I cuss people out for everybody else. Because I'm one of them outspoken.
I can get on that.
Cuss people out for everybody else that people that are struggling out here. They're scared to speak their mind. Just tell me what the topic might be and let me say it. Let me talk.
Okay.
You would get a topic and then you just speak your mind on that.
I like that concept. I like that. Like, dude, I'm sure there are topics I could get you going on that I'd probably agree with you, dude. Like, these guys don't seem bad. Like, this guy's actually been a pretty good interviewer. Like, he's asked some intriguing questions. Or co-host, or like, he's a straight guy on the show, whatever.
Topic.
Yes. Okay. And if people were going through changes on their job, being talked down to, their supervisors acting crazy with them, demeaning them, or people are in settings where people are disrespecting them and they're scared to speak up, give me the person's name, in the place of
Doodle Muffin, thank you for the sub.
Well, I guess the big issue is that okay, you say when people maybe pushing hate speech.
You guys rock. Feeling the love tonight.
You know, I think you should be a little bit more diplomatic in how you say things. You know, because ultimately, I feel like people that are speaking from a place of hate, they may not fully.
I like these guys. Like they're not stupid.
Know what they're saying, but they're not fully educated.
I could probably have a good conversation with them.
They're just so captured by their emotions.
Dude's a little misguided about what cancel culture is.
So at what point is
I think his heart's in the right place.
You say we should cancel certain types of speech, but what happens if the shoe is on the other foot and you may have people canceling speech that might prove helpful? I mean, like once at a time, that like for instance in Russia, if you speak out against the war, that's being canceled. Like who would know like if the paradigm would switch and those people that are speaking that hate speech,
that's my point, Doodle Muffin, is it's just a word. It's an opportunistic word that people use to deflect criticism. Oh, this is cancel culture. You're coming in. People made fun of me on Twitter. They're trying to cancel me. I want to say ultimately they're probably on the more liberal side. But they don't really know what they're talking about on this particular subject.
Cancel rhetoric that was against them. Does that make sense?
What makes sense, but the moral of the story is we have become too sensitive as people right now. Okay, you know, people are entitled to their own opinions. See, racism is learned behavior. You know, a lot of people are raised in households where their parents or grandparents are still stuck in a time warp, and they teach their children not to like other races or ethnic groups. And so what happens when a child is 5 or 6 years old and they're sitting down having dinner with their parents and they're telling you, do not mess with the people from the N people, in other words?
You know, I don't, overall, I'm sure those people exist, but overall, I think racism is more, it's not as overt. Like it's comments that you make. Like it's ways you act around certain people. It's not like I'm sitting you down at the table and like you do not ever bring home a black girlfriend or blah 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 blah. I don't think it's that. I think it's a lot of jokes as well. And the jokes that you tell. And the language that you use. Doesn't make it okay to be a shitbag at all. Yeah. Agreed. Your upbringing does not excuse you from having shitty views, and in the age of information, having shitty views, especially, here's the thing, you know, if you want to be stupid about something, be stupid about something, that's okay, but why do you have to be misinformed on a topic and have such a strong opinion? Why are there so many transphobes out there voicing their opinions right now? Especially about women swimming. You don't give a shit about women swimming? What the hell?
Right? Do not mess with people that are the N-word, and then they're being down talking a lot of different ethnic groups. So when that young man turns 18 years old, you cannot really.
I am never afraid to tell my friends they're being ignorant. Stop being ignorant.
Nationalities. Now, once they become mature individuals, 25, 26 years old, and they've gone to college and they're around different ethnic groups and cultures.
I don't consider insane ableist.
To make a determination based on what
you're fine, Doodle Muffin.
Opposed to holding on to their old type of belief systems that their parents imparted.
So here's the thing about like I fancy myself an edgy comedian and a shock jock at everything. So like, I'm gonna say some shit at some point in time that's uncouth, that's not PC. Correct me if I say a term that is outdated or something. One time I said libtard, and like I caught myself like as if I'd said. I mean, there's a conversation to be had about like where the line is and everything, but I come at people in good faith. I think if you're part of our community, you're acting in good faith. I hope the same good faith is extended to me. If I say a term that's not correct, please just let me know. Like the whole, I kept saying Kiev wrong. I kept saying Kiev, the Russian pronunciation of it. Somebody corrected me on that. Fucking A. Thank you. Apparently, like, it's a slight towards the people of Kiev to pronounce it that way. But if you don't know, you don't know. I don't know about these guys. These guys seem harmless. Might have to check back in with the Vibe Cultivator Network at some other time. Said they were talking about Joe Rogan and Whoopi Goldberg. That's why I wanted to give it a shot. All right, this doesn't even fit in anywhere. I'm just going to throw this in. I talked about it on Thursday night, but we didn't get around to it because we got completely off topic. This is the fourth pig perspective. This is Dave Ramsey. I have no clue what this is about. Apparently his daughter was on his show arguing with his dad. His daughter is Rachel Cruz. Always need that fourth pig perspective. So I want to learn what the fourth pig perspective is from financial advisor and hardcore Christian and far-right nut job Dave Ramsey. Now, I follow Dave Ramsey on Facebook, and I love going to his financial advice columns and always posting about what Jesus said about rich people. Because Dave Ramsey is worth like $30 million. I might have that wrong. Let me make sure I'm right. I don't like making statements and 200 million. Dave Ramsey's worth around $30 million. I was wrong. Dave Ramsey is worth around $200 million. So I love, especially when he's bringing up, his little Bible verses and shit. I always point out what Jesus said about rich people. How you should give all your money to the poor, about how it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. I assuming we're doing the three little pigs and there was a fourth pig. I don't know. I haven't watched this. I don't know what it's about. If you might be new to the stream, I don't ever watch this shit before we do the stories. Sometimes it's a dud. Sometimes we have a lot of fun making fun of these dumb fucks. The fourth pig caught my attention. So let's hear about the fourth pig.
The third pig, he's the one that
little pig, let me in. Not by the hair, my chinny chin chin. Oh yeah, I was throwing out some green jelly for you.
Had a brick house. And when the big bad wolf came, his pulse rate did not change. So when you have an emergency fund...
Wait a minute.
You remember the third pig? He's the one that had a brick house. And when the big bad wolf came, his pulse rate did not change. So when you have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, when you are living on a budget, when you have worked your butt off and
Dave Ramsey kind of looks like he could, wink wink for us.
Gotten yourself out of debt, and all this crap comes at you,
wee.
You go, dadgum, that's awful. It's inconvenient. They don't have cream cheese at Publix. Dadgum. It's just a thing. Right?
Oh my God! Oh, she is so amazed by his joke about them not having cream cheese at Publix. First of all, shopping at bougie ass Publix.
Can I be a fourth pig?
The fourth pig.
Can I be the fourth pig?
I don't know.
That you
what is
do
the fourth
it.
pig?
The fourth pig.
Is the fourth pig? Is that the stepchild?
I might be the stepchild after this segment. We'll see what happens.
You may get thrown out of the family.
I might get thrown out. The fourth pig is you do it all, right? Thank God for parents that teach you young. You do it. You're living on a budget.
Yeah. Thank God that my dad is worth $200 million and I've had everything handed to me on a silver platter in my life. So let me get up here and give poor people some fucking advice, because I know exactly what I'm fucking talking about.
it since 21. You save up your emergency fund. You're funding your 401k. You're doing it, okay? So you got the brick house. But the dadgum wolf, but he's real. And when that pig goes to the grocery store, it's like
And Bear Pig is real.
it is though.
So the fourth pig
the
was a
fourth
drama
pig-
student.
Maybe so. The fourth pig can have the brick house, but the fourth
Yes. Do not knock the liberal arts.
so feels it.
Somebody tried to make a joke about me the other day or something. It was like, what's your degree in? I was like, philosophy and broadcasting. They're like, well, you didn't go and get a liberal arts degree. And I'm like, both of those are in the liberal arts department. I don't know what you're talking about, you idiot.
When you fill up your tank and you're like, no, why is it so expensive? Or Costco, I check out and feels like it's double than what I did.
I didn't say you didn't feel it, but it doesn't have to have the level of drama that you're bringing to it.
I know, but God sucks, though.
I didn't say it didn't suck. And let me just tell you. Let me tell you when it sucks more. When you're not the third pig. I've been there. I mean, it's like when you're broke, everything that can go wrong will.
MJ, this dude is selling you a product that is going to make you're going to consume in order to make him rich. Is it like his advice is nonsense? This is self-help. This is new age guru bullshit for people that wear polos and slacks. Like, it's nonsense. This isn't actual financial advice. He's just selling you a product. Learn when people are trying to grift off of you. Yeah, Dave Ramsey just jacks up your fucking rent. Like an asshole.
And then they throw some of this crap on top of it.
Totally, absolutely.
And your life looks like a country song
So it's that much more.
Biden wrote. I mean, it's awful. You know, I mean, it's horrible. It creates a huge. The level of stress that you have, the level of anxiety that you have around inflationary matters, changes dramatically, or should.
Totally.
If you have your crap together because you've been following this stuff. This is the stuff that we teach.
Nah, shit. Having more money means you can weather financial storms easier. How is that useful financial advice? How is that just not the most obvious thing in the world? I don't get it. Hey MJ, give me a are you citing Dave Ramsey testimonial about that, or do you have some kind of data to back that up? So I'm going to tell you that it's the opposite. It's just like a fucking church. They tell you that if you tithe to God, it'll come back to you in blessings. But all they're doing is scamming you. You can't tell me that like people giving their personal testimonial on Dave Ramsey's website is proof that he has helped people. That's a marketing scam. Capitalism has rotted people's goddamn brains. Let's not even bring up, once again, this man is a hardcore fundamentalist Christian. The Christian Bible says that this man will not get into heaven. This man, Dave Ramsey, right here, will not get into heaven. But he is a fundamentalist Christian, because that's another part of the grift. He ain't saying anything. He's just selling you nonsense.
Which is the only principles in finance that work in prosperous times and in hard times.
Yes. But also, so I would say the fourth
hard times, Daddy.
Hit, right? I know, I'm the fourth pig. I don't know, I'm making it up as we go.
I know, I can tell.
But it's the same feeling.
When COVID hit, these fucks probably made money. Dave Ramsey probably invested in Zoom and made money.
Feeling is with COVID that the people that were debt free had an emergency fund, all of that, their level of fear was way less.
Yes, that's
than
my point.
All that, but there was
of course.
I had that level. Yeah,
so
I mean, I get it.
So that's what I was just trying to acknowledge. That even though financially, the dollars and cents, you can still pay for the gas and like adjust your budget, and you're fine. You can pay for it.
Yeah, the dupes cut the stupid pump off at $125. I can't even fill up the truck. You know?
MJ, you're repeating his marketing. Dave Ramsey has never helped anybody get out of fucking debt. Never. He has scammed people. He helped put people in more debt by selling them financial products. I asked you, if you're going to make a claim like that, I need evidence to back it up. Exactly. What he's saying is just absolute nonsense. This is just new age woo. This is Gwyneth Paltrow for yuppies. That's all this is. Exactly, Ginger. A lot of people have lost a lot of money listening to Dave Ramsey. That is my contention. I don't understand. I mean, I'm not somebody that manages their finances well. I'm just lucky that I have a talent that I can exploit, and it's actually like it garners a pretty decent price. I can just go and make some money when I want to. But like I don't understand how managing your finances isn't something that's just like common sense. People talk about like, oh, they should teach you how to do your taxes in school. I'm like, they don't teach you basic math and how to fill out boxes? How to look at one sheet of paper and write something in a box on another sheet of paper in school? You telling me they don't teach you how to do taxes in school? Like, come the fuck on. All right. But you know how this goes. I'll give you something to wash the bad taste out of your mouth. From the fourth pig. Go from the fourth pig to the baby kangaroo. This is absolutely adorable. Watch this fucking kangaroo try to get in its mama's pouch. It's having a little trouble. Oh, baby. Oh, he fell down. Oh, that looked painful. Alma's not really helping him at all, but he finally made his way in there. Rest in peace to Taylor Hawkins. You know what's wild? Is that before the Freak Show on Friday night, Sparkles and I had music on. Oh, it breaks my heart to see him fall like that. But Sparkles and I had music on, and the Foo Fighters cover of the Bee Gees, Shadow Dancing, came on. And like we were both like dancing and singing along and shit in the living room. And then I found out that Taylor died just a few hours later. I was like, hey, Sparkles, we were listening to Shadow Dancing, and that was Taylor singing. Like, that's him doing the vocals in Shadow Dancing. Like, we were singing him. Like, possibly as he was dying. That's fucking crazy. I hope the Foo Fighters will continue because I would like to see them, and now that Taylor has passed, I wish I'd went and saw the Foo Fighters in 2016, 2017, whenever they went on the road for the Concrete and Gold tour. I almost bought tickets to that tour. I'm not the biggest Foo Fighters fan, but like you can put on the Foo Fighters. I'm not offended. Like, I'll listen to the Foo Fighters all day long. Like, they've got some good jams I go out of my way to listen to. But I was just like, I'm not that big of a fan to pay this much to go see them, but I should have. If they continue, they might continue without, calling themselves Foo Fighters. But also, Taylor wasn't the original drummer, I don't think. I hate that he bumped his head when he falls. That's the sad part to me. If you are watching on Twitch, you're going to head over to Echoplex Media podcast recording session. Like producer Dave is flying solo tonight. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.